there, this is Elora, and I'm a prequel trilogy kid.
And this is Dave, and I'm an original trilogy kid. And you're listening to What Does Star Wars Mean to You? The show where we talk to all kinds of fans of the franchise, from industry insiders to indie artists, from obsessive mythologists to mega collectors, all for one goal: to take the hate out of the debate by focusing on one fan at a time, to find out what does Star Wars mean to you. Plus, it's, just fun to chat Star Wars.
It sure is. This is our episode between episodes, so no guest today. You're stuck with Dave and I. This is where we deep dive on our favorite aspects of our guest interviews and just discuss what's interesting to us in the Star Wars universe this week.
That's
and
right.
we usually kick off with kind of dissecting our favorite moments from our last interview, which was a mega collector. Two of them, actually.
Two of them. It was Lisa Stevens and Vic Wertz, a couple who have one of the largest collections in the world. And she was the former president of the official Star Wars fan club, as well as a brand manager at Wizards of the Coast. And he was an associate editor at Star Wars Insider.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great conversation, and their collection is amazing. I'll just hit some of their highlights. They have 3 rare and sought-after Boba Fett rocket launching action figures. This is the prototype for Boba Fett.
Yeah.
They have blueprints for the first Star Wars toys ever made. They have nearly all the arcade games tied to the franchise. Movie props, from Yoda masks to lightsabers to blown-apart X-Wing fighters. A full-size replica of the Cantina from the first movie, and a movie theater that was designed by Doug Chang, which is
Totally crazy.
Totally crazy. But before we talk about what our favorite moments were, let's have them tell us refresh us on what Star Wars meant to them.
Yeah.
I should have known you were going to ask this question because it is the name of your podcast, obviously. I mean, Star Wars means to me friendship. So much of it says Vic and I go through and we're now inventorying our collection bit by bit. We bought it and put it in boxes. Now it's getting put out. We're inventorying it. And it's amazing how many times an item will come and I'll be like, oh, I got that. We got that from so-and-so, or we're on that trip or whatever. And there's all these friends associated with that, So I think there's this friendship and this sharing of Star Wars with fellow fans that's so huge. I mean, and just sharing with Vic, and that's something we do together. We share this love of Star Wars. And so I think, for me, it's this kind of friendship and sharing thing that has become a big part of Star Wars for me.
So Star Wars as a whole, not just thinking about collection or collectibles, but as a universe, in the one word, that word would be hope. Like, it's a new hope. It's a 50-year-old hope. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that.
So friendship and hope.
What a great combination, especially
Perfect
between
combination.
a couple. Oh.
Yeah. What were your favorite interview moments?
My favorite interview moments. There was kind of a lot of them because, I feel like I'm a collector, and so everything we talked about collections, I was like mouth watering.
Yeah.
And one of the things, and it was in Lisa's What Star Wars Means to Her, was the idea that each bit of her collection, as she went through it, brought back memories of the people who gave it to her or where she was when she received it. And I always feel that way about my collection too, because that really resonated with me. I feel like I have this theory about Christmas ornaments, which they're like small little memory boxes, and every time you take it out and put it up on a tree, you think about like, oh, this is like from 1993, and I was like at home and it was snowing that day, and I remember the first time we put this up. And collections are really like that. I have like an Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know if it's up there. Yeah, an Obi-Wan Kenobi from the 1985 Power of the Force with the coin. I got that at a antique shop in I want to say it's not Altoona, Pennsylvania. It's somewhere in Pennsylvania where Sarah's Candies is. And Sarah's Candies happens to have the best chocolate covered pretzels in the world.
There you go.
But besides that, it was there, and I just remember seeing it and going, oh, I so want that, and buying it and taking it home. And so I do think collections have that kind of like time capsule attachment to them.
My mother does that with the Christmas ornaments too. That's so funny that you said that, because she gifts one to all of us every year, so we have one for every year. That's like some sort of like milestone that represents like something significant that calendar year.
Oh,
it's kind of a cool thing. Yeah,
that's a really cool thing.
That's a really neat that you guys share that philosophy. But yeah, no, same. I mean, I look at a lot of my. I don't remember where everything came from, but a lot of it I do, and some of them I'll cherish forever, not just because they're Star Wars, but because of the people who gifted them to me. Like my copy of Dressing a Galaxy, my dad gave to me on Christmas. Like
that's right.
He absolutely went overboard. We both cried when he gave it to me. Like that's something that I'll probably be buried with. Yeah, no, I think a lot of people feel that way with anything that they collect.
Yeah. What about you? What was one of your favorite moments?
Well, speaking of figurines that we all collect, I loved it when Vic was talking about the Kenner action figures being late to the initial like Christmas rush during the debut, the original Star Wars.
Could you imagine? Star Wars is a hit in May of 1977, and still at Christmas they're like, we don't have figures yet.
They had to make all the prototypes and everything and the casts and so they were absolutely behind on. They weren't expecting that to, I think, blow up the way that it did. And he talked about how items in their collections that they have are. So I guess the kids got promissory notes essentially in the boxes of what would have been the action figures, basically saying like, you're due a Han Solo or you're due a Chewbacca.
It's Kenner IOUs.
Yeah. And they had to pitch the idea to Lucasfilm, though, to get them to sign off. And I guess that George and a few other execs in the room and signed them and fake filled them out. And it was an intern that was like, these are going to be worth something one day. And scooped him up, and he was right, because now they're in Vic and Lisa's collection, and I just thought that was so cool. The astuteness, too, of that intern to know, I got to hold on to this. This is a piece of history right here. Yeah.
Exactly. Another thing I really liked was how they boiled down what does Star Wars mean to them. I mean, you summed it up, friendship and hope. And the way they so quickly defined it to them, I knew it was kind of really true to them. Yeah.
Yeah. It was so succinct and so clear. Like there was a lot of conviction. I feel like my answer changes every day. And I feel a lot of our guests feel that way. Like I'm sure they hang up from us and they're like, oh, and another thing.
Which should be the after show podcast title.
I love it. I love it. That'll be our Patreon. And another thing. Yes. Just you and me ranting for hours. We're like, why did we pay for this?
Although I would love to do that show now.
Oh, I was thinking back to, you said that, and I thought back to the episode where you interviewed me to introduce me for this show. Yeah. And you asked me, of course I knew the question was coming, but you asked me it. And I feel like it took me like 15 minutes to tell you, because there was so much. How do you describe the feeling? I felt like Vic and Lisa were very true to who they are and knew exactly what that feeling was. And that was kind of inspiring in its own way.
Yes. And I also thought it was just so sweet. Friendship and hope. Yeah. And I do think that's two of the things. Like if you take friendship and call it community and hope seems to be like such the strong bond between fandom between fans within the fandom of Star Wars. I
liked that they went a step further than community, though.
Yes, me too.
Because I do think you can have community and not everyone in that community is your friend. You can be in a space where there are like-minded community around you and you can feel supported and you can feel uplifted in that. But to call someone a friend, I feel like is just another level.
Yeah.
That's someone who really knows you. And so that means that that's what they've found in that community, which is awesome.
Yeah,
even better. The other thing I loved, it is a small little thing, but it made me laugh when we were doing our edit. They were talking about kind of, there's a lot of different contributors to the Saga Museum, and Steve Sansweet had come over to brag, I think. Or no, he had come over and Lisa was bragging about how they had got Qui-Gon Jinn's boots from the funeral. And Steve was like, no, you didn't. I have those boots. Who sold you fake boots? And there was a debate back and forth for it sounds like a while before they realized that they each had different sections of the boot.
Yes. I think that's so great. It's such a peanut butter and chocolate moment.
Yeah, I just love this. I loved the image of them just sitting in their cantina. I don't know if they were in their cantina or not. That's where the conversation's taking place in my mind.
Yes,
debating over who has the real boots between collectors before finally someone goes, well, describe them to me. And then come to find out. I don't know. It just made me laugh.
It's just such a great human moment.
Well, it also just speaks to the things that we assign value to as collectors, for the parts of the boot. It wasn't even the whole shoe, but they meant something. They had value. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. That sounds like some kind of book, like a self-help book. Parts of the whole shoe. It was it's kind
finding your own intrinsic value. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, should we go into the data pad?
Let's do it. Dave, what did you subject me to this week? Why don't you tell our audience?
Well, I shall. And what's so funny is...
Because this was 100% Dave's idea.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of fans on my side, I think.
I love it. So...
Lisa and Vic, one of their first items in their collection was a 1995 Power of the Force Boba Fett. Lisa had bought it for Vic kind of offhand, and that kind of started their whole, the snowball building of their collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, since Boba Fett was the first appearance within their collection, why not watch the first appearance of Boba Fett from the Star Wars Holiday Special in the cartoon short called The Story of the Faithful Wookiee?
It's solid logic. I mean, I loved where we're going with this. I was triggered. Let's continue.
Okay. So The Story of the Faithful Wookiee was written by George Lucas and adapted by Christopher Nicholas and had storyboards by Clive Smith and Frank Neeson?
I think so, yeah.
Animation was done by John Silvestri, who was a comic book artist back in the day. And Don Franks voiced Boba Fett, who also voiced him in Star Wars Droids. And, Jeremy Bulloch famously portrays Boba Fett in the movies.
Well, and very famously, a lot of the original cast portrays the characters here.
Yes, that's right. In Han, Luke, C-3PO, in a way, Chewbacca and R2-D2.
Was Carrie Fisher in it?
In Carrie Fisher, yes.
Yeah, I thought it was her voice, yeah.
Yeah, all of them were in the movie, and perhaps James Earl Jones as well as Darth Vader.
Possibly, yeah. We should check the credits.
Yes. Although to be fair, Wikipedia does say the original Star Wars cast voicing their respective characters.
Okay, so then and then James Earl Jones too.
Yeah. So, so obviously we had reactions, and I want to hear your reaction.
Well, I think for me, it made me realize, I need to... What's wrong?
I just realized... I totally forgot about the childhood fear. I realized that after I said, let's do this. And then I was like, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It was only 9 minutes long. It's fine. No, I think the first thing that I realized is that I need to watch the Star Wars Holiday Special in full, because I've now heard about it so much. I've now seen this chunk of it. I feel like I need to join the rest of the OG Star Wars fandom on that journey. At some point, she laughs maniacally. But for me, I mean, look, it's a 9-minute short. It did trigger my old childhood fears of cartoons. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't understand the context of the mission 100%, and I was gonna ask you if there was something else in the holiday special that I needed to know. That I
That's
maybe
all great questions that I don't know the answer to.
Or was it like an SNL thing where it was like skit-like?
The holiday show itself is sketch-like.
Okay.
Variety show. It's a variety show.
Variety
Think Sonny
show. Okay.
and Cher, the Brady Bunch,
Love it.
70s variety show.
I just want the record to reflect, because I'm sure there's some people listening to this that are like, oh, Laura doesn't know who Sonny and Cher is. Yes, she does. I do. My mom raised me right. My mom raised me right. Yeah, I was a little lost on like the talisman and like who cursed it and why, and like I felt like there were questions that didn't really get answered. But what was your initial reaction to rewatching it?
Well, so I've seen it a couple of times, and I don't look. You have that childhood fear of cartoons, but with this particular one, I can understand it because
they're creepy. They don't look real.
Creepy. There's something that it's like their flesh is sliding off their bodies as they're talking.
Why is Luke's jaw like protruding from his face like that? Like it's not normal. Yeah.
Why does Han Solo look like grumpier than grumpy?
He sounds it too. It really, really sounds like Harrison Ford enjoyed that VO session a lot.
It probably walked in, did every line, and walked out.
Oh, it read like that. Yeah.
Yes. So the animation has always bothered me too a bit. But I did, within the animation, I thought some of the technology looked great. I thought the spaceships looked great.
It's not like it was bad animation. I just felt like it's that very like kind of old school. Like there's just like overemphasis on certain characteristics that make it kind of funky. Yeah.
Yes.
And it was a style
absolutely.
then for sure.
And it was. And if you look at like kind of the adult oriented cartoons from back then, it very much like very trippy. And so it's kind of interesting.
Well, how do we feel this story fit into the greater Star Wars universe?
Look, I don't know. Like you asked a question about the talisman, which I think is a great question. I never asked that question. I was just like,
what?
Oh, they're just after this thing and whatever.
I loved that it explored the idea of side quests. It did some character building. You know, I like that. I liked what they were doing, which was, kind of giving us a glimpse of what these characters might be up to outside of how we already know them. In a different format, because I know there's the novels. But there was a lot of I had a lot more questions by the end of it than I had answers.
I don't know if you'll ever get those answers. I
don't think
really
so.
Don't. I think we'll have to go on a quest ourselves.
Yeah. Quest to figure out who gave the talisman to Chewie.
Yes. I do, within the greater aspect of Star Wars, I do think this lays groundwork for mythology. It's not just the first intro of Boba Fett. It also features his disintegration rifle, which the Mandalorian uses. It's called an Ambin sniper rifle.
That's cool.
And so those things, like the Star Wars weirdness, is what I feel like it contributes a lot to.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of working on this theory about how the cartoons really allowed George Lucas to expand in the weirdness side of Star Wars, where the movies are a little more face front, like audience facing, world facing. The cartoons are a little bit more like, okay, this is where I'm going to get strange and let's have some fun.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, I think it leans into what can we say about the time? I mean, for me, it answered the question of this came out of audiences probably being very starved for Star Wars content.
Yes. Could you imagine? I forget when the holiday special came out. It's 78 or 79. But they must have been like, we need something. Because it's not like today where you just open your phone and watch it.
Or, I mean, also, I don't even think that press junkets were done the same way. I mean, I know that they weren't. The internet, I mean, you weren't on a press junket where you were getting, for right now, a great example is Superman.
Yes.
I cannot get on the internet without seeing an interview from somebody in Superman and generating content around that and stories around that and tales around being on set and the actor's approach to the story. And it drew me in. I had no intention of seeing Superman in theaters, and then I did. And so I imagine that this kind of served that kind of function.
Yes.
People were wanting
Yes.
Star Wars, but there was no avenue to
Yes.
get it in 1978.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Can I do a little aside here, a little side rant for and another thing? When Ahsoka came out, there was the actor strike, so there was no promotion online on social.
Mm-hmm.
And after the strike ended, somewhere like in September, I want to say, I saw all this promotional stuff for the Acolyte. And I can't tell. I think it was either Acolyte or Ahsoka. I forget which one it was.
Yeah.
I think it may have been Ahsoka. Anyway, it doesn't matter which one. But I was so glad that I didn't see all this BTS while I was watching the series.
Interesting. Yeah.
It was just, I don't want to see a ton of BTS interviews and them like joking around. Because I saw one of the Superman things, which was Superman opening a bottle of water for Lex Luthor. And it was the actors, Nicholas Hoult and I forget
David
Superman's name.
Corn Sweat. Corn Sweat?
Corn Sweat?
I apologize, David. We can't pronounce your last name, apparently. And you're a big Star Wars fan. If you hear this, you want to come on our show, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, more than welcome. We want to hear about your Star Wars journey.
Oh my God, his Star Wars interviews are adorable. Anyway.
They are.
That's my aside to your aside.
Yes. And that's why we call it And Another Thing. Is there a place for content like this?
I think there always has been. I feel like today's audiences expect a lot more out of production and story. I think we've gotten really spoiled. I think that frankly, I think even some of the response to shows like Acolyte are exemplary of that. Like,
yes.
Whether or not you liked the story, you cannot deny the amount of production that went into making that and the time and the creativity. And it's like, you can't have it both ways. You can't be expecting more and then not like it when you get it. And I feel like that's kind of been the conversation. And so, I actually would argue that there is a place for content like this and we should be doing more of it. There should be some more kind of more turnkey, quirky little spin-offs of our favorite characters. I don't hate it. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I think it's absolutely necessary in order to take big swings. I was talking about the Star Wars weirdness of it all.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think I would appreciate Star Wars weirdness if it weren't for the Clone Wars. And then I don't think the Clone Wars would get into Star Wars weirdness if it wasn't for like the Ewok Battle for Endor. Yeah. And then I don't think that would get into weirdness if it weren't for something like this. So it's kind of almost like a safe place that is still part of the world, but it's kind of like a testing ground. Like, does this work? And I think the whole of Holiday Special is a little bit of that. And they were like, oh, a lot of this does not work, but Boba Fett did. And it was also a little weird. I'm sorry, I just remembered this bit is C-3PO, I think, referred to Boba Fett as Darth Vader's right-hand man.
He did.
And he really isn't. And I know that probably gets swept under the floor, which is fine.
It's in the same category as what's with the carpet. Yeah, it's in the same category as why was the talisman so important, and then why was no one concerned when Chewie threw it away?
Yes.
There was no discussion of going to get it back. I feel like it's in that category of like, well, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen.
Yes. Here we go. Put it in the incinerator. All done.
Did you learn anything new?
I don't think I learned anything new, but I did realize that Luke Skywalker is just far too damn trusting. Yeah. He's just always going to trust someone.
Yep. Until he can't trust himself.
Until he can't trust. Ooh.
Getting
and
deep.
Then he'll know. Yes. Yes.
No, I
love it.
One, Boba Fett should have taken his shot. what's the "I'll get you next time," and then just he was the only one armed in that room. Like, I didn't understand the character's motivation. Was it to, like, I mean, it's like watching the bad guy go, "I'm gonna give you my whole plot," and it's like giving time for the heroes to come in. I mean, I was sitting there like, I don't understand why there's not a lightsaber coming out here. I don't understand why there's not a pistol being drawn. Anywho, that was the one thing that I found kind of odd, and that's not really, did I learn anything new? I think what I learned about his character specifically is, like, it's ruthlessness. His ruthlessness, like,
yes.
I don't understand what his strategy was in the, like, kind of bigger story of this particular sketch, but, like, he had lines like, "Oh, well, don't bother feeding my space dune worm thing that I'm writing on." I don't know what it was called. No lower life forms
Puff the
are
Magic
worth...
Dragon.
Yeah, he literally looked like Puff the Magic Dragon met the dune worm. I mean, that's actually what it looked like. And he was pink, which wasn't helping matters. But he had lines like, "No lower life forms are worth going hungry, friend," or something along those lines. And I'm like, well, Jesus, like, that says a lot about Boba Fett.
You know what's fascinating about that line is Obi-Wan in episode 1 says, "Why do I sense we've picked up another pathetic life form?" So there's that. When Qui-Gon comes back with Anakin, I think Obi-Wan says that, and so there is that, like, another thing that echoes within George Lucas's thing about people and how they feel about lower life forms.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I don't have
I don't. That's it. Yeah. Should we go into how we Star Wars this week?
This week, like 2 weeks ago, I was talking about the Star Wars role-playing game, and you got really excited. You were like, "Oh, does this mean you're going to do a game?
Let's set up the mics. Let's live record it. Let's do it."
And so I'm thinking I need to really learn the game, because it's a fairly simple rule book, and we do an old style campaign.
I love it. I've never played a game like that before, so, patience with me, but I'm so down.
Oh, I think you'll like it. I think you'll like role-playing games.
Paula would be too.
Yes. So that's what I did. What about you? How do you
I fell
do the
into
Star Wars this week?
I fell into a really weird rabbit hole on TikTok. I think anyone that's on TikTok knows that, like, sometimes your algorithm is like reading your mind. And then you end up on, like, a weird side of the internet that, like, it just starts to dominate your For You page, and there's really nothing you can do about it. It's just happening to you. We were talking the other day, I swear my phone's listening to me, not to sound like crazy conspiracy theorist, but we were talking the other day about, I forget whose interview it was, but we were talking to somebody about Last Jedi and Kylo Ren and Rey. And all of a sudden I started getting, like, people make Kylo Ren Rey edits on TikTok. Like almost like super cuts, like for trailers of movies, or like you would imagine like a rom-coms montage might be. And they're always set to like some like sappy pop song, and it's been kind of crazy. So I fell into that, but that transitioned into like content creators that I didn't even know existed on TikTok who were like dissecting Kylo Ren and Rey's relationship.
Really?
In the movies. Yeah. The whole dyad and the Force thing. And like,
were they like shipping them, or?
Yeah. They were like, no, it makes a lot of sense, and here are the reasons why. And so I fell hard into this rabbit hole. And I have to say, I am now a Kylo Ren and Rey stan. Like, I have been thoroughly converted.
Wow.
No, I just like, it kind of like reminded me, I feel like I had a lot of, I never hated their kind of undercurrent love story. I never hated it. I always like, it made a lot of sense to me, but I always kind of second guessed that when listening to others' commentary on it, because there are points where it's weak or doesn't make a lot of sense, or, is maybe like lacking something. But I actually like, people hate the kiss. I know that. But I don't know. I feel like it makes sense. I've been converted. There's the whole thing with the balance and the Force. There's a whole storyline there about redemption and forgiveness that like is just so integral to Star Wars. And I feel like when we talk about that storyline, we forget that that's like Kylo did what Anakin couldn't.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of loneliness. I mean, I'm not saying Kylo is forgiven for killing Han, obviously. Let's put that on the record. But
or the 7 planets within the Galactic Alliance.
That too. I'm not saying his character wasn't despicable. I'm just saying I liked the storyline of Rey seeing the best in people and that she could see the light in him and that there was a lot to be said about his character's journey and kind of her being a bit of a linchpin in his redemption arc that I liked, and I don't hate the romance side of it for that reason. So that's my flag that I'm sticking in the ground today. I might watch a video tomorrow that convinces me otherwise. Apparently, I'm pretty fickle. Who do we have on our hyperspace horizon?
Next week, we're going to welcome Eric Clayton to the show. He is the Deputy Director of Communications at the Jesuit Conference of Canada in the United States. Mm-hmm. He's a writer at the intersection of pop culture and spirituality. His book, Cannonball Moments, Telling Your Story, Deepening Your Faith, has won several awards. He's a big Star Wars fan who wrote the book, My Life with the Jedi, The Spirituality of Star Wars, that takes the teachings and philosophy of St. Ignatius and present them in terms of Star Wars. On this show, we talk a lot about the politics of Star Wars, especially this year, with Andor and Mask of Fear and everything.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about the politics of Star Wars, but this time we're going to talk about some of the philosophical and spiritual teachings of Star Wars.
And this is one of my favorite interviews that we've done. I really enjoyed Eric's perspective, and I hope everyone else does too.
And so if you want to get in on the conversation, follow us on socials at Star Wars Mean to You. That's at Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U. And if you're enjoying the show, please subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating. It really helps to get the word out there.
And until next week, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Hello there, this is Elora, and I'm a prequel trilogy kid.
And this is Dave, and I'm an original trilogy kid. Can I say that again? Hold on.
No, okay.
And
get one take.
One take!
Screw up your second one.
Okay, 3 takes! Hi, this is Dave. And before we get to the show, I wanted to ask you a favor. One of our goals this year is to grow the show so that What Does Star Wars Mean to You reaches more listeners. And that's where we're asking you for help. And it's really easy. Wherever you listen to us, please hit that subscribe button. If you're liking the show, give us a 5-star rating and review on the platform you listen to us. We make a lot of fun of the algorithm and the smash that button thing, but it really does help us get noticed by new fans. And if you want to join in on the conversation, find us on social at Star Wars Mean to You. That's Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U. Now, let's chat some Star Wars.